All right, so this is a suggestion via Discord. The name of the video is Black Culture Ghetto? Yes, it is. That is the exact title here. All right. Guys, I don't know if my opinion is even worth anything on this topic here. I've spent more time out of the United States than inside of the United States, and black culture specifically is not a monolith internationally. So, if you're referring to like black American culture, oh, guys, there are issues. Okay, there's some problems here. I think what is depicted and what is idolized is absolutely trash. It's garbage. If you're referring to like what is popularized, like specifically within the Black American community, oh no, yeah, it's bad. If that's what you're talking about, exactly that. But let's see where this video takes us, guys. Let's do it.
Is black culture ghetto?
She's not American.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deshawn and this is Slash Uncut. So
Or maybe she is American and she's like a first generation.
Candace Owens got in trouble last week again on the holiest of black holidays, which is Juneteenth. Candace Owens tweeted out the following: Juneteenth is still ghetto and made up. Hope everyone enjoys it. Now, obviously, she received a ton of backlash online. People were understandably not happy with her statement. So one of the persons that responded to her tweet was Mark Lamont Hill, who was famous for basically being a lefty black guy. He said, "All holidays are made up. You honor July 4th, which commemorates independence, despite the fact that black people were still enslaved. You'd celebrate Thanksgiving, which whitewashes indigenous genocide, yet you're bothered by Juneteenth, which celebrates black freedom. Why?"
Okay, let's just go back really quickly. All right, so here's the thing. Mark Lamont Hill was a tenured professor at he was one at one time. He was also a CNN speaker, let's say. Candace Owens, she just talks, basically. Right? So here's the thing. Juneteenth in itself, if you have to say it, yeah, that's pretty trashy, bro. I am not going to say that. I am not going to say it. Apologies. All right. It sounds absolutely ghetto. Is it made up? All holidays are made up. So what's funny is, they're both kind of correct here. Yeah, Thanksgiving, absolutely. Okay. July 4th, that's also a factual statement. All right, so yeah, guys, they're both coming with insight, both of their takes. Obviously, Candace Owens said this specifically to bring some attention to herself, and she did that correctly here, I guess, right? Well, yeah, they're both correct in both their takes.
Yet you're bothered by Juneteenth, which celebrates black freedom. Why? Candace Owens went on her podcast later on that day, or I think the day after, to explain herself further, and this is what she had to say.
84% of black students lack proficiency in mathematics, and 85% of black students lack proficiency in reading skills.
She's exclusively talking about black Americans in this context here.
85%. Does that not just shock you? Does that not absolutely shock you? It is incredible. And yet they scream progress because they can twerk on top of a Pizza Hut on Juneteenth. How is that for freedom?
What happened?
So it's true, you guys. You've said this 1,000 times. I
want to see that video.
Get it? I'm not invited to the cookout on Juneteenth. I guess I'm just going to have to stay alive. That's my other option. I don't want to go to your stupid cookout. I don't want to do anything. I want nothing to do with black culture today. I don't know how many times I can say that. There's nothing good about it. It's completely ghetto. It's not the black culture I grew up watching. It ain't the Winslows. It's not Family Matters. It's not the Jeffersons. It's not the Cosby Show. It is something that is entirely derogatory and disgusting. It's
that's fair.
Filthy. I want nothing to do with it.
Now,
listen, that's fair. I just wish you would have said it on a different platform. Daily Wire is a platform that is specifically funded by the oil industry, and a lot of what they try to push generally is things that are either extremely divisive, extremely, or anti-science generally.
Derogatory.
Because why would you trust a scientist? No. What we're doing has nothing has no effect on anything. Don't trust science. They're basically the largest pushers of the anti-science movement, anti-overall intelligence movement, specifically in the United States of America and any other country that speaks English.
And disgusting. It's filthy. I want nothing to do with it.
Now, the question then begs, is Black culture ghetto? Short answer to that question is yes. Black culture is very ghetto. Prime example of that is an event that occurred last weekend, which is the BET Music Awards. Starting with the red carpet, it seems as if the theme of the night was basically naked. We had woman after woman after woman walking around half dressed, you know, barely presentable, cameras flashing.
Yeah, that has more to do with probably feminism than anything, to be honest here.
This is Black culture. Moving on to the award show itself, when you look at the artists' performances, same thing, a lot of sexualization, promotion of violence, regular Black culture. Now, if you look at the BET Awards or just hip-hop culture in general, it is very easy for one to come to the conclusion that it is, in fact, ghetto. And if you didn't know anything about history, you would assume that it has always been this way. Now, that is obviously not the fact. I was scrolling on Facebook a couple of days ago and I came across this picture of what seemed to be a debutante show. Now, looking at this picture, you can see well-dressed Black people, men and women, young men and women, beautifully adorned in these dresses and these suits, celebrating being classy, being proper, just all while being Black. And this was in the 1940s, which was an era that was ripe with racism and, you know, Jim Crow era law. So it wasn't as if Black people had the freedom.
Yeah, that was way before they started paying women to basically get men out of the house exclusively. Then that obviously then became somewhat of a trend that stayed within the community. Get rid of the father, then the government will assist you, right? Then, as the years and decades progress, what do you get? No fathers in the households.
To, you know, necessarily do these things in the same way that their white counterparts were able to, but they still went ahead and did it. After seeing this picture on Facebook, I went on this whole social media deep dive into finding videos of pictures of Black people, Black culture before the advent of, you know, current day hip hop culture. And I came across a plethora of examples of, again, Black people just being better, more put together, more classy, well-dressed, seemingly intact, families intact, kids looking good. When you look at that and you look at what's going on today and you see the sharp contrast, you have to wonder what happened. How is it that a culture that was so rich, you know, evolved into nothing but degeneracy? Now, I want to put in a little caveat before I continue and say one thing. What happened at the BET Awards, or what you see in hip-hop culture, is not Black culture. How do I say this? It's not all that Black culture is, even in modern day America. Obviously. A couple of things I want to say here.
Listen, here's the thing. I fully understand that, as I am a Black male that lives in the United States of America. I get that, right? I understand that. I fully understand that. I'm not that, but yet I somehow am this, right? So how do we... You don't need to say that, but I understand that. For some people that are, you know, from extremely underexposed areas where they've never actually encountered a person that looks like me or her, right, in any meaningful manner, they can unfortunately perceive all people to be what they see on TV. And specifically, if that is the thing that is helping to currently assassinate the image of her, right, and I, then I can only imagine that you have the ability to believe that everyone that you encounter is said thing. All right.
A lot of people get upset with Candace Owens, another Black conservative, when we are as critical of Black culture as we are. And the reasons are because, one, we are right. It is objective what we are looking at today. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of people acting as if this is normal. And the minute that you criticize this, the minute that you show your disapproval, somehow you're not invited to this invisible barbecue or this invisible cookout, whatever it's called. Your Black card gets revoked, and all of a sudden you're shilling for white people and white supremacy and all of this nonsense. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why is it that we are so willing to defend and blatant nonsense and stupidity. What type of future are we laying out for for our kids? For black kids coming into this world, you want to tell them that this is how you should present yourself. This is what you should support. While we sit there and, want to cry about generational wealth and how we need to build up our communities and how we need to protect the black family, what are we promoting? How is it that the message that we are, complaining about is so starkly different than the message that we are promoting? What is it that we really want? So I think that's one thing. People get upset because black conservatives are objectively right. Number two, black people have somehow become so sensitive that the minute that you say something that goes outside of the popular narrative of what a black person is supposed to think, the entire community comes for your neck, and somehow you're supposed to sit there and be like, I know I can't say certain things. Even,
Bro, I say whatever I want at any time of the day. I'm telling you, all right? And I post it without any issues, all right? Have people come at me completely crazily in the comments? Yes. But do I actually care? No. I'm not even going to respond to you. Say whatever you want to say, bro. That's fine, right? Do whatever you desire, okay? Absolutely.
Me, myself, who tends to be very outspoken online, sometimes I think twice about some of the things that I'm going to say because I just know how people are going to react. And as much
let them react
as I want to say, what, facts don't care about your feelings. Feelings oftentimes don't care about facts. You can sit there and state a plethora of statistics that prove to show that what black culture is right now does not lead to anything but, just degeneracy and nonsense and just unproductivity and just cultural and moral
popular black culture, that leads nowhere. There's no benefit in it. I don't see anything that I see on TV or TikTok that is any type of interesting to me personally.
Okay, you can show all the statistics, and no matter what you show people, no matter what you present to them, because their feelings have become so wrapped up in the narrative and they hold on to it so dearly that they completely disregard any fact that you present towards them. And because I feel like black people have become so coddled in American, progressivism, and the fact that, these progressives are using the black community as a front to push their own narrative, black people's feeling gets, coddled and are told that any criticism of anything black needs to be shunned or silenced, which is just so ridiculous considering what black people have gone through in this country and what they have been able to overcome despite, criticism, despite literal racism. They were able to overcome so much. But black people today, the minute you say something bad about black culture, about hip-hop culture, black music, all of that things, all of a sudden you are the devil himself. Honestly, I'm at a point where, and this is gonna sound mean, sometimes I understand why the black vote isn't taken seriously on a political lens, because it is so easily manipulated and it doesn't take much to get the black vote. This is exactly why.
It's not just the black vote, it's also the women's votes, specifically women's votes, and the overwhelming black vote in the United States of America is basically toyed with completely.
The Democratic Party has been able to hold on to it for so long, despite how they have failed the black community. All they have to do is say white people racist, Republican racist, conservative racist, and then boom, black people line up in droves to vote for them over and over again, generation after generation, decade after decade, election after election, because we don't ask for much. We don't ask for results. We don't really ask for change. We don't ask for improvement. We don't ask for progress. All we really ask for is pandering, because it seems as if that's the only thing that people use to get our votes. So when you look at that reality, it's easy to kind of fall into hopelessness and kind of sort of disregard not the community, but not necessarily focus on changing anything, because change cannot happen from top down. It has to be bottom up. Things have to change from a communal level, and a cultural level, and that kind of then goes up to politics. So you want to try to focus on changing the culture, and I think that does start with kind of being a little objectively mean and objectively critical, to the point where it wakes up certain people to have certain conversations.
They're not going to have that conversation with you. And I'm not trying to be mean here again, right? But it may actually be above, overall faculties. Like I've tried to have conversations with people that are like completely outside of like this YouTube world and things like that about just like the most small, minute things that I would think that the average individual human living on Earth with us, right, would have the ability to basically have some type of, at least a small insight into a topic. Nah, none, zero. Well, that's at least been my very specific, small, minuscule experience, right? So I'm not even sure that the conversation can even be had because some people just don't care, bro. Right?
And those conversations are not always going to be easy. They're not always going to be nice. People are going to get emotional. As a Black conservative, you are going to be called a coon. You are going to be called an
she keeps saying that. Is she a Black conservative?
Uncle Tom. You're going to be called a benditive. You are going to be called a coon. You are going to be called an Uncle Tom. You're going to be called a benduench. You're going to be called so many obscene terms. But if you are convicted in your belief and you are convicted about your ideology and you know for a fact that what you're saying is truth and there is value in your opinions, you kind of have to have this I don't care attitude. And that is what I have recognized. And I think getting to the point where I realize I do not care. I am not going to sit there and have like just this awful culture represent people that look like me. I said a whole lot of nothing.
I hear you. But yeah, I think it's too late. They represent you. They represent everyone else. They're the loudest. Okay. And because they're the loudest, they're the ones that everyone sees, right? So they're not going to see you or anyone else who is somewhat logical or level-headed in the situation. They're just going to legitimately see the ones who are the loudest, the most debaucherous, the ones that are constantly on the news, etc.
Nothing there, I feel like, but hopefully I made sense and hopefully my point is clear, which is that the criticism of Black American culture does not come from a place of hate or disgust or even, just frustration.
Oh, no. Listen, I'm kind of disgusted. Occasionally, hear me out, though. All right. What disgusts me, clearly, are people like from certain areas, and they speak terribly. All right, the vocabulary is absolutely minuscule. I understand this could do a lot to has a lot to do with the schooling, etc. I get that, right? But the problem here is that type of behavior disgusts me. It all right, that represents you and me. Bro, that is not a good representation.
Culture does not come from a place of hate or disgust or even, just frustration, but care and hope and a strong belief that we can do better. And I hope that is what was projected in this video. And I really hope that this encourages anyone who's a Black conservative struggling to kind of find their voice and being able to be confident in their beliefs and what they, know to be right. You can do it. You do not have to sit there and fear your Black card getting taken away or feeling
how do you get your Blackness taken away
somehow that you are less Black because you think hip-hop culture is trash.
That should have been I understand why you titled it this way, right? But hip-hop culture, specifically modern day hip-hop culture, is absolute garbage. Back in my era of like the 90s hip-hop culture, was it still bad? I think it was. I don't think it is what it is now, though. Now it's like, so every single person is just loose, right? That was never something that I actually remembered, at least. Some of the female rappers, well, they had to kind of be that way in order to get any type of recognition, but now it seems to be the exact only template that a woman can have entering into hip hop is just to be as basically nasty as humanly possible, right? Hence the reason why all of these female rappers are absolutely nasty. That's how you get attention, apparently. Then that tells all the young girls coming up, this is how you get attention, right? And then we get to where we are right now. That's it. It's terrible. I would have titled the video like "Hip Hop Culture is Trash," right? But you know, you're bold. Is Black culture ghetto? Yes, it is. That's her title, bro. It's right there on top of my screen. Right? That's crazy, but that's the title. All right, listen, I definitely wouldn't call myself a black conservative. I'm just someone who can see through things, right? I definitely wouldn't call myself that. But, all right, yeah, black American culture is absolutely weird. It's weird. It's toxic, okay? Because I've met a lot of black people outside of the United States of America, and it's not the same thing, bro. Keep this in mind. I live half the year in Europe. So the black people that I do encounter there have no similarities to black Americans in general, right? The overwhelming stereotype that's placed onto black Americans, at least, right? Normal people, taking care of their family, traveling the world, doing regular people things. Those are the people who I encounter that are black within my travels, guys, right? Like over 140 passport stamps, guys. All right, so I've been to a lot of places. I've seen a lot of black people traveling. They don't fit the stereotype. All right. But all right, listen, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. Guys, before we go, are you guys subscribed to the other channels? Logical Movie Reviews with Mr. L. Boyd along with Mr. L. Boyd Music. Both are found in the description. Check it out.